Sexual dimorphism is a distinct difference in size or appearance between the sexes of an animal, in addition to differences between the sexual organs themselves. This definition is by the dictionary. In more general terms, sexual dimorphism is the trait differences in males and females. Consequently, Darwin was wondering about these differences and trying to piece things together. For example, how could these traits be so beneficial and beautiful, like the peacock plumage, but at the same time be so disadvantageous? A male peacock, for instance, cannot fly away very fast from a predator with that long tail feathers and loses the camouflage advantages it has also. Therefore, these traits reduce survival, consume a lot of time, and waste energy. After many years of observation, it was obvious to Darwin that all these special ornaments, structures, and behaviors were all limited to males due to sexual selection, which increases the chances of obtaining a mate. Therefore, sexual selection suggests the increase of reproduction and the decrease in individual survival due to these traits. Sexual selection has two forms. One is direct competition, in which males compete with each other for access to females. Darwin later called this competition the law of battle. This would let the winners pass on their genes to the next generations. The other form of selection is the female choosiness, where it is up to the female to choose her mate. This is when these traits come handy, because the winner is the one that has the best mating displays the best ornaments, and is more attractive to the female that choose amongst mates. The reason why females are choosy because they have a higher investment in offspring. Females must make every opportunity count because they have to choose the best mate due to the limited numbers of eggs. On the other hand, sperm is relatively cheap for males to produce. Furthermore, sexual selection does not stop with reproduction only. Males still continue to compete after mating because females have the ability to mate multiple times. Therefore, males defend their territories and they try to keep other males away from fertilizing the females. Another way of reproduction, which is called parthenogenesis. However, it is not as sufficient as sexual reproduction. Parthenogenesis is when the egg is formed without mating or without fertilization. In this case, males are no longer necessary. On the other hand, sexual reproduction produces new genes, faster evolution to adapt to the environment, and eliminates bad combination of genes from a species recombination.
In all species that reproduce sexually, it is known that both genders have different sized gametes. Males can produce large amounts of small gametes known as sperm or pollen. They can potentially father a large number of offspring. They are limited by number of females they can attract and the ability of their sperm. Females make few but large gametes known as eggs. Eggs are expensive and limited in number. Promiscuity does not increase their number of offspring, and mating is expensive for them because they can provide all parental care. An example of this is the world record for how many offspring a male can reproduce in his lifetime is 867 children, whereas the record for women is 69 children. Biologists have found that there is a strong correlation between mating systems and sexual dimorphism. Extreme dimorphism is often found in species such as paradise birds on the left, in which males compete for females, whereas species where males and females look alike tend to be monogamous, like the penguins on the right. There are also exceptions when males are the ones bearing and nurturing the children. In these cases, females will compete for the males because they provide all the parental care. As shown in the left-hand side is a picture of a seahorse, and on the right-hand side is a picture of a pipefish, which are examples where the males often carry one brood at a time, which usually lasts longer than the time it takes a female to produce new eggs. In the middle is a picture of a phalarope, which exemplifies a one female and many male mating system known as polyandrous. In this mating system, males provide all parental care while females move on to mate with other males. Females often compete for males to provide care for offspring and are often colored brighter than the males. Both Wallace and Darwin had their own theories as to whether females are choosy. Wallace's theory stated that females were less flashy because they had to be camouflaged from predators, while males had extravagant traits due to their physiology. Darwin, on the other hand, believed that the bright colors, calls, and ornaments that males possess evolved due to females and that females are choosy based on appearance.
Female preference comes down to direct and indirect benefits. Direct benefit stems from picking of a male that will help produce more healthy young during the act of childcare. An example of this would be providing a better territory resulting in increased fecundity and viability. Indirect benefit stems from the act of choosing males with better genes than those of other males. An indirect example would be the house finch of North America. The image below shows the female, which is brown, and the males with a bright red color on its head and breast. The brighter the male, the more mates it obtains. This is because brightness is a sign of overall health. The red color of male finches comes entirely from carotenoid pigments in the seeds that they eat, and they can't make this pigment on their own. Brighter males are therefore better fed and probably healthier in general. In the case of indirect benefits, 3 types of genes increase in frequency together. Genes for a male indicator trait, reflecting that he has good genes, genes that make a female prefer that indicator trait, and the good genes, whose presence is reflected by the indicator. To test the good genes model, a study is done by capturing gray tree frogs and crossbreeding the females with long-calling and short-calling males. The result was that the long-calling males produced faster-growing tadpoles that survived better. This test strongly suggests that a long call is the sign of a healthy male with good genes, and that females who choose those males produce genetically superior offspring. Sensory bias models assume that sexual dimorphism is driven simply by pre-existing biases in a female's nervous system. These biases could be a byproduct of natural selection for some function other than to locate mates. An example of this would be if females were to develop a keener sense for the color red, for the reason of finding ripe fruits and berries. If a mutant male were to develop this red color, he might be preferred by females simply because of this pre-existing preference. In the sensory bias model, females derive neither direct nor indirect benefits from choosing a particular male. To summarize, sexual dimorphism is a result of a physiological difference between different sexes and different species. A 1-to-1 sex ratio is the most stable and effective strategy, which provides just enough variation to accommodate for a changing environment. Eggs are more energetically expensive than sperm, so females must be choosy. Darwin was right. Sexual selection is nearly always up to the female's choice. Males will almost exclusively have the outlandish characteristic or trait as long as it increases the chance of mating without being too energetically expensive.